Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Ifene. Great Malabite.
Good morning, Ruben.
Good morning.
Good morning, Rufai.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, Victoria Tundun, MKO Abiola.
Good morning, Mr. Ifene.
Yes, let's start with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. The lead story, Buhari not in support of open grazing. Presidency clarifies. Southern governors insist no land for invaders. ACF, Arewa Consultative Forum, maintains position on cattle restriction. Buhari's opposition to Southern governors ill-advised, says Pa E.K. Clark. Senior advocates of Nigeria allege ethnic bias. Yes, Ruben, I used to accuse you, Aso Rock. You happen to be one of the alumnus of Aso Villa. When you make statement, you come out to clarify. You make statement, you come to explain. Well, Tundu, you just refuse to hit the nail on the head. When you write a statement, you make a statement on behalf of the president, and you need to clarify. It means you have not written a good statement.
That's exactly what it means.
And I know Ruben will nod with that, even if he doesn't like to criticize his successors in office. Well, if only they have made the right statement. The first paragraph of this story, President Muhammadu Buhari is opposed to open grazing. That would have been the headline if they had done the right thing. But now they have to explain. And many people are still criticizing the president for the statement put forward on behalf of the president, because that statement did not portray what they are now clarifying. And Punch newspaper has as its lead story, senior advocates of Nigeria fault presidency attack on grazing ban. Northern Elders Forum slams president. Land Use Act empowers governors to ban open grazing is straightforward. Professor Shesage, a professor of law. Headers' right of movement doesn't cover right of cattle destroying farm, says Tayo Oyechibo, a senior advocate of Nigeria. South won't yield its land to invaders masquerading as herdsmen. Arakunrin Rotimi Akeredolu, senior advocate of Nigeria. That's the Punch newspaper. Now, the Daily Independent newspaper proposed grazing reserves. We won't cede inch of southern Benue land, governors. Garba Shehu, a pitiable messenger, says Akeredolu. Federal government comments fueling agitation to secede. Afenifere Pandef asked president to retract statement. Well, they have clarified. I don't know whether we can also pass that as retraction. They have clarified the statement. Now, the New Telegraph newspaper, I will just leave the lead story and go to the story beneath the photograph. Banks to go after debtor states. CBN debits lenders 120.2 billion naira for cash reserve ratio default. Retains lending rate at 11.5%, abolishes 380 naira per dollar as official rate. Yes, the banks will be going after states that are owing. The central bank wants to debit the states for the money they are also owing. I hope the central bank is not waging a war against the states. But if you borrow, you must pay. That is the rule. We move over to Nigerian Tribune newspaper. 4.2 million pounds Ibori loot returned to Delta Accountant General says. $633.8 million, 9.709 million pounds recovered so far from Switzerland, island of JC, UK, he adds. Yes, that controversy. Ruben, Rufa, and Tunu, you know, I have more than passing interest. We follow our money.
We know.
We are following our money. Yes, yesterday at the House of Reps, the Accountant General of the Federation said that money has been returned to Delta State. But information from my state.
Okay.
Yes, the Accountant General of Delta State, quoted by Nigerian Info Onisha, said as at 12 midnight of Monday, that money has not reached our account.
No alert yet.
Well, we Deltans, we are following the money. We'll pay attention, and when that money gets to Delta State eventually, we will also pay attention to ensure that Governor Ifeanyi Okowa spends that money judiciously, transparently, so that we don't have a case of round tripping, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I move on.
We support you in hoping that the money will not enter voicemail.
No, it
Like the money for Edo 2020. And Edo State is carrying a placard.
No, the Edo 2020 fund,
Yes.
we have to hold the Minister of Sports responsible. Because he promised that the money was on its way when the state wanted to stop the sports festival Bidway. So if that money is still traveling, we should ask the Minister of Sports.
You know, Mr. Feni, we live in a country where you can't even trust bank alerts. But the fact that you saw a bank alert is not an indication that the money is in your account.
Well, if we just look at the Daily Trust quickly, you are complicit in secession bid. Northern elders tell Southern governors, says Northerners living in fear in South. Federal government should evacuate headers from South. CNG. Garba Shehu lacks authority to make policy statements. Akeredolu devolve power to states. Nigerian Press Organization tells the federal government. If I may just look at the Vanguard newspaper, this is another story. Panic in Ebonyi as suicide bomber in quote, blows self to pieces. Suicide bomber made attempt to enter Anambra Amangbala Primary School. Witness, no suicide bombing. Ebonyi government, police. Yes, according to the police in Ebonyi State, that explosion that killed a policeman who was fiddling, I want to say, with his tear gas canister, and it exploded. That's the police story, and they're saying no suicide bomber anywhere in that state.
Okay, Mr. Feni, I just quickly want to double-click on that Delta money. I thought that they said that money was based on an agreement.
That's what Abubakar Malami said.
And Abubakar Malami went further to say that that money was specifically for some projects in Nigeria. And
According
that was the agreement reached.
Yes.
And it was after they reached that agreement that the money was sent back to Nigeria.
Let's see the agreement.
But all of a sudden, that same money that they said will be put to use with projects. Because, we did ask, what's his name now? The NSIA chief that was here to talk to us. And he said the money had been deployed to use on some projects in this country.
But the Accountant General was very firm yesterday.
The Accountant General said
because he was reminded about the Abubakar Malami statement.
That the money has gone to Delta. So what is happening? Is it that Abubakar Malami didn't sign any contracts, with those who were getting the money from? Or is it that the Attorney General, your lordship, sir, I don't want to come on national TV and say, was it that the Attorney General was not saying something that was correct? I don't know what to say. So all of a sudden, the stories are beginning to become very convoluted. I don't even understand. I don't know what to believe any longer. One breath, it's going to be used for projects, Second Niger Bridge and the likes. All of a sudden, voila, 30 minutes after, it's going to Delta State. And Delta State say we've not received the money. So where is the money?
The money has not been used for anything. We are following our money. We are following our money.
You make it sound as if that money ever gets to a Delta State, some of you will recommend that it should be shared per household.
No. We are going to do
our money.
It's our money. It's Delta State money. Confiscated from the former governor and his associates.
The way the narrative is changing over the money, at first used for federal projects, the next thing, and the shocking part is the Attorney General did argue vehemently that it was a contract, nation to nation was going to be used for projects.
I think there has been development after that statement because the Robo Progress Union wrote to him to release the money and he urged the Robo Progress to advise their son to withdraw the case against the government. Yes.
Yes, on that note about your money, let's take a quick commercial break. When we return, newspaper review with you will continue. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the morning show here on the Arise News channel. Arise News analyst Emmanuel Ifeni is still with us reviewing top stories in newspapers from around the world. Ifeni, back to you.
Yes. Let's look at Daily Times newspaper, the Daily Times of Nigeria. Reps query handling of $23 million, 2.725 billion naira by Accountant General of the Federation, NMPC. Yes, yesterday the House of Reps Committee grilling the NMPC and the Accountant General of the Federation. Now, this amount, what NMPC calls advance consideration, which it deployed, the House of Reps Committee not so clear what that means, and they have requested for full remittances of monies by the NMPC since 2014, 2.725 billion naira, 2018 and 2019, and NMPC called that advance consideration. Some explanation they need to do there, because of course we've always known that in the past, perhaps not still now, the NMPC's operations have been very opaque when it comes to its finances and accounting, but that should not be. Now, the News Direct newspaper, stagflation, MPC orders CBN banks on higher export earnings measures, recommends higher consumption investment, retains 11.50%, MPR 27.50% cash reserve ratio. Now, this Daily Sun newspaper, we just look at the story under the photograph. President talks tough, gives IGP, the Inspector General of Police, marching orders to end policemen's killing. Coalition of civil society organizations blacklist police boss over comments on Southeast, South-South zone. This issue of attacking police installations and INEC facilities, especially in the Southeast and parts of the South-South, I think is something everybody in Nigeria should be worried about. And the fact that nobody has been apprehended and grilled to know the motive or those behind this, because IPOB has denied it, Eastern Security Network, they have denied that they are involved. So who are those doing this? Because it's properly orchestrated, going from one zone, from one state to the other. And I think that marching order given to the police, Inspector General of Police, he should be able to protect his men. And they should be able to get to the roots of this matter. We cannot just imagine that these are unknown gunmen. Now, quickly, if we look at the foreign newspapers, the Guardian newspaper of UK, anger forces climb down over travel restrictions. Yes, that travel restrictions to eight areas in England is causing confusion, and many people are angry, but the government has climbed down and they're trying to amend that, advisory to read instead just minimize traveling. The New York Times, quickly, U.S. is looking to rebuild ties to Palestinians. A shift in policy risks tensions with Israel. Yes, the U.S. Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, has been on that shuttle diplomacy to Palestine and Israel. Good to hear that the Biden administration is working towards a two-state solution dialogue. Dialogue first, then whether they can arrive at an agreement that will mean two-state solutions. But it's doable, but the parties should start talking, unlike the Trump era, when everything was just handed over to Israel. Ruben Rufai and Tundu.
It is doable. You'll recall that Bill Clinton got really far. He almost got that two-state solution because Ehud Barak gave such concessions, Yasser Arafat ruined it. But now we have another chance, and that's really the only solution for lasting peace. But I do want to say I could not have been clearer or more emphatic about my criticisms of that statement from the presidential spokesperson. So I don't know where the ambiguity that you sensed came from. That was totally mishandled. He muddied the waters. But I guess we've run out of time. Thank you, Mr. Feni.
Mr. Feni, thank you so much for your time.